All right, let's give you guys some tunes here. Grand Rising, everybody. Let's give y'all some tunes while I do some invites. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Sorry, I almost had this together, but I had some technical difficulties just now, y'all. Some real technical difficulties, so I had to fight with the electronics, so I'm 2 minutes late. And those of you that know me know 2 minutes late for me is early. So here's the tune. Hope it's not too loud. Do my invites. Oh, Lulu, you didn't see my necklace over there?
I never told you this walk was easy. For things is hard, it's for the strong. Those who endure until the end. Whoever told you you could walk this at your convenience, that will not work. In fact, it's absurd. God promised you a war. Y'all said that you'd be tortured, mocked,
and for the record, the disclaimer, if you are getting these invites and you would not like to, just let me know and I'll try to remember. I am really just inviting who Facebook suggests I invite. I don't know, maybe you're the people that most respond to my stuff or something. I don't know how Facebook comes up with its algorithm, but about that? I'm just going in the order that Facebook puts you in, okay? So just bear with me.
Your crown is on the other side of all the chaos. You must navigate, but hurry, 'cause the hour is late. God told us not to wait. He's closing all the gates. Your choice will seal your fate. 'Cause these are the end times, baby. It's not a matter of when or maybe. God promised you a war. God said that you'd be tortured, mocked, hated, abused, misunderstood and used. God promised you a fight.
A little more invites here, bear with me. Enjoy the tunes.
So you better learn to fight instead of trying to be light. 'Cause these are the end times, baby. It's not a matter of when or maybe. It's happening now. The shit is going down.
Y'all some time to get in here? What? You're on the radio.
Now
What's
you're
she doing on
acting all
there?
surprised 'cause you fell for all
Oh, if you tune in, Lorna.
The wall
That's
all
okay.
over your eyes. Now it's on you. What you gonna do?
I've got people here. I did not mean to invite Ida Jones. No offense, Ida, but you're supposed to been there, girl. I don't treat any of my blood siblings as social media friends because they're not my friends. So not that Ida in particular has ever done anything to me, but hello, whoever's in the room, Grand Rising. Can't see you yet because I am still doing invites. Let me see. And we're going to give one more minute of invites so that the song can play. I think that'll be my new, that'll be the new intro. I'll let the song play and do invites for that time. That gives everybody time to get into the room so that folks aren't missing any critical information, although I do tend to ramble for the first few minutes, so it's not like they're missing a lot of critical information. But just trying to get a format going that's, you know, some regular stuff.
Hated, abused, misunderstood and used.
All right, I think.
God promised you a fight.
All right, I think I'm done here.
Because
I'm tired of scrolling. Last one. All right. Okay, Facebook said some people came in, but it's not showing you all. If you are in the room, say Grand Rising to your girl. Okay, we are gonna close down that, put you here, and forgive that I don't have a better setup. Look at my skin, it's so weird, guys. Look how like patchy and splotchy I am as of late. I need to listen to Lulu, who's been trying to tell me that I need to get a decent skin regimen going, because like I am 50 and my skin is starting to be like, girl, well, we're 50, okay? Anyway, welcome, Grand Rising. I am Jedi, Empress Jedi, the rabble rouser that is, and you have tuned into the morning session here at Black Enlightainment. Here at Black Enlightainment, we are broadcasting consciousness. I'm glad that you all showed up. I pray that the Most High will bless our time together, that we will chew on some truth that will, help to shape our reality to be a little more like what it's supposed to be. Indeed, we have inherited lies from our fathers. I don't think that anybody at this point is denying that reality. And so if you are in the room, do shout out and say hello. We are reading from the Black Root Science, Volume 1. This is the great, available on thegreatinvestigation.com. You can pick up a few, bless you, different, really, I would say, important works there. Black Root Science 1, Black Root Science Volume 2, and the Holy Megalith, which I cannot wait to pull out and explore with you guys. And I really feel like I should have a necklace on. And I had a necklace that I was going to wear, guys, but I don't know what I did with it. Like, I was walking around with it in my hand, and then I just, like, lost it. So apparently that's what I do. So whatever. Again, we give this disclaimer, is I am not necessarily anti-Bible, but I am definitely go to the source, and keeping in mind that the people that the Bible talked about were tortured to death for refusing to accept the Bible as a true or accurate depiction of their God, of their culture, of their spirituality, anything like that. They were literally tortured to death before accepting it. And so if we want to serve the God of the people of the Bible, we have to rewind ourselves back before the Bible and look at those scriptures and stories and the tradition and the way of life that those people actually lived, and ask yourself what was so contrary about the Bible that they were willing to be tortured, men, women, and children, to death before accepting it as valid or as representing what they knew of their God, right? So a good place to start to sort of jostle you out of the mainstream narrative, which is supported by, I guess you could say, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam all kind of agree on this mainstream story. Those three modern religions were actually all created and established by the same entity, but we're not going to get into that because that's a whole other story. But hey, Glenn, Grand Rising, good to see you in the room. Much love to you. Kiss my babies for me if they're nearby. Well, they're probably in school, but kiss them when they get home, I guess. But if you want to jostle yourself out of the mainstream narrative and really start to re-examine the way that you understand the Bible, a good place to start would be the Encyclopedia of Lost and Rejected Scriptures, which is available on Amazon. It's last I checked, it was about $70, and that's available on Amazon. The Encyclopedia of Lost and Rejected Scriptures by Joseph B. Lumpkin. Okay, that's a good place to start, because that will start to give you an idea that there was a lot that, was left out, changed, reversed, and all of that. Then if you really want to get deep, then you can come to this class where we are exploring, because even that is an Aaronic view of things, right? There was a split. Some people followed Aaron and some people followed Moses. Moses was too ooky spooky and deep. And the other thing that Moses' law taught was balance. And the Aaronic laws and things were very male dominant, among other things, right? Things like blood sacrifice, a lot of this kind of stuff. It just gets really tricky with the way that those spiritualities kind of branched off, kind of like how you have the Protestants and the Catholics and you have the Baptists and the this and that. Well, there's always this branching, right? So, the same thing happened with Abraham's sons, right? Like Ishmael went one way, and that's where you kind of get the Islam, and then you have Isaac went the other way. So they went, Anyway, so what we're reading now is the Black Roots Science, and this is the investigation into the history, the chronicled history that was kept in Kenya. This was a Kenyan version of the history that was before the Bible. Like, what was it that the people, the doctrine of discovery and all of this that gave people that represented the church the right to go out and smash any remnant or semblance of a particular narrative. People that were still holding to that narrative went into hiding, had to hide their scriptures, keep their secrets really super, super secret. And so around the world, you can still find those narratives, but you've got to know where to look. And we thank Brother Prince Michael for his work in bringing these things to us, right? So we left off yesterday at the end of the summary. And today we are picking up, for those of you that have the text. This text, again, is available. Bless up, Brother Kareem. You're right on time, just about to get started reading. So this text is available at thegreatinvestigation.com. This is the Black Root Science Volume 1. Grab Volume 2 and the Holy Megalith. And there's another one there. There's 4 books there. I don't know why I always forget the name of the 4th book. But grab them. If you can pay for them, please do. It will support the work that they are doing. If you are unable to pay for them, they are there for free downloadable copy, okay? And the word does tell us to buy wisdom and knowledge, but not to sell it. So there it is, a donation-based situation where if you want a hard copy for yourself, you can buy it. But if you just want the material and you can't buy it, you can still get the material. So there's no excuse for you not to get yourself a copy, okay? So now we are going into Introduction to Level 1. And it reads, very interesting, y'all know the glasses, okay? One of these days I'm going to get me some glasses. Let me see. Can I make this a little bigger, though? Let's see. Let's see if we can do this. Oh, well, look at that, guys. I just changed the game, okay? Except I really changed the game because now I got to move my phone. Okay, y'all can still see me, okay? I know it's a little bit crooked. Okay, very interesting read. Where did you get all this information from? Who told you about it? And who told the person who told you? And etc. As in, where did this all originate from? Okay, and the elder answered, I was taught the ancient history of our people by the elders of my tribe. They have kept it in a safe custody for many thousands of years and pass it from generation to generation through oral teachings and initiation. I may have missed it, but could you give us, okay, so the interviewer asked, I may have missed it, could you give us some indication of what part of Africa your information comes from? Some of it's very familiar, other parts are completely foreign and don't seem to correlate with any indigenous spiritual systems in Africa, of which I'm aware. You also spoke of initiations, to what, by whom, and of what lineage. And the elder answers, I'm from the tribe called Botswana. My people live in different regions in southern Africa, in the countries of Malawi, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Angola, and Namibia, but mostly in South Africa and Botswana. Our language is called Setswana or Setswana. The elders that I mentioned are the custodians of the secret knowledge in my tribe. This type of secret dissemination of knowledge exists in many other tribes throughout Africa. It originated, or rather became secret, in ancient Egypt 6,000 years ago. Before then, it was taught openly to all Black people starting at childhood. And the interviewer asks, you consider all of Botswana to be one tribe? Are your initiations considered general rites, which are conveyed among African community members as they reach certain ages? Or are you receiving specialized trainings as Dingaga or a Sagoma? And if you serve one of these two capacities, please tell us how long you've been in training. It's rather exciting to think we've some African healers or priests from Southern Africa living in the Americas. Also, if you don't consider it intrusive, please place more environmental context on your information. Tell us what the names of the creator, intermediary gods, and ancestors are within your tradition. What are some of the rituals that are safe or general public to practice? Outside of oral history, what are you authorized to share with Africans born in the West? And if you don't mind, I want to put a small note on the first page of this post and in the title bar indicating that your spiritual knowledge is from Botswana. Okay. And the elder answered, our tribe of Botswana is divided into many smaller clans. I'm from the clan called Bakatla. I'll briefly outline our initiation system for those who are new to such information. There are 3 types of initiatory training among my people. As is the case, bless up, Brother Nasir, Grand Rising, welcome to the room. Thanks for joining us. There are 3 types of initiatory training among my people, as is the case among many African tribes. The first is general rites, as you put it, which youths undergo at about puberty. At that, a handful are selected to be trained as Dinkaga, Ngaga, singular, Dinkaga, plural. The term Sangoma belongs to the Zulu tribe and is not used among us, but it means the same thing, as you probably know. A second group, much smaller, is then selected at a later stage to be trained as griots. I am a griot, a tribal historian, and not an Dinkaga. There are 2 types of griots. The first is called Moseki, or a memorizing griot, for lack of a better word. Such initiates are trained usually from childhood in certain rites that vastly improve their powers of memory to exceed that of ordinary people. Then they are taught oral history and memorize it word for word so they can transmit it to following generations exactly as they received it. Okay? This creates an unbroken oral history. It's not like Whisper Down the Lane, guys, where it just gets changed every generation. You add something, you subtract something, you blow it up, no. This is a highly specialized practice. You are learning it word for word so that it is unbroken and undefiled. Okay? Very different from the Bible tradition, which changes every generation and every translation. People change it to suit modern sensibilities, right? But anyway, I'm going to read that again. Then they are taught oral history and memorize it word for word so they can transmit it to following generations exactly as they received it. The second type of griot is called Motshidi. This word is difficult to translate, but it effectively means one who lives with the ancestors. I am a Motshidi. The central tenet of African initiates rites is that the lives of our ancestors, the gods, are still as vibrant today, hallelujah, as they were in their time. With this tenet as the foundation, we are trained to access that vibrancy and transport our minds to spirit to their time. Amen. Amen. So I must be I must be a mochidi because I that happens with me, right? I have this like ancestral memories that I can tap into. Now, you may be saying that the Bible speaks against ancestor worship. First of all, nobody said anything about worshiping the ancestors. But I want you to please refer to what happened with Yeshua on the Mount of Transfiguration. What happened there? Did he or did he not hang out with a couple ancestors who come and talk to him and kicked it with him? Okay? So much so that the disciples that rolled up on him even perceived those ancestors themselves and said, oh my gosh, let us make a little food for the ancestors or something, right? So this is not contrary to Christ. This is exactly in line with Christ, okay? And if you study the book of Adam and Eve, which is one of the books that is available in the Encyclopedia of Lost and Rejected Scriptures, no, I do not get a penny for every time someone orders that collection of scriptures. I just strongly suggest it because I would like you to deepen and broaden your understanding of the God you follow. But we know that it was very common. It was the practice of those who dwelt in Eden to commune with the ancestors. They actually would go into where their bones and things were preserved and hang out and like absorb that energy and kick it with them and like kick it with the ancestors. So if somebody somewhere is telling you that kicking it with your ancestors is evil, bad, and terrible, it's because they don't want the ancestors transmitting knowledge, strength, power, truth to you. Okay? Yeshua did it. Why not you? Right? Okay. So let's just go on back to that again. I'm going to reread that. Okay? The second type of griot is called a mochidi. This word is difficult to translate, but it effectively means one who lives with the ancestors. I should be taking notes here. So the first one is called a moseki. These are the word for word, guys. Word for word, griot. And the second one is called a mochidi. And that is, the first one is spelled, if you are taking notes, I'm going to help you out here in case you didn't, do like I said, and download this or order your copy. It is, the first one is M-O-S-E-K-I. The Moseki are the ones who are taught, who are first trained in childhood to improve their memory skills and then are taught the tradition and the history word for word, okay? The second one, the Mochidi, bless up, Brother George. Welcome to the room, Grand Rising, and thanks for joining us. The second kind of griot is called a Mochidi. And these are the ones who kick it with the ancestors, right? It effectively means one who lives with the ancestors. I am a Mochidi, says the elder. The central tenet of African initiate rites. I'm sorry. Let me get my notes together. Okay, because remember, I am experiencing this text for the first time with you. Okay, we're reading this together for the first time, so you're going to have to bear with me as I take my notes because this is a real study. I hope that you're actually, if you're able, I know some people may be at work because of the time or what have you, but if you are able, it would be really good to be taking notes, right? Take this study seriously. Anyway, or not, or just listen and let it absorb into your spirit. So the central tenet of African initiates rites is that the lives of our ancestors, the gods, are still as vibrant today as they were in their time. With this tenet as a foundation, we are trained to access that vibrancy and transport our minds or spirit to their time. Hallelujah. That is a beautiful, wonderful gift. It has served me well. I am very excited, guys, to know that there is a word for that, and that's an identity now that I can take on and understand that, I can't say I'm not crazy. But I'm not crazy. There's a word, and it's a particular mantle that I wear that allows me to do that, to access other timelines, right? Because that happens to me like a lot. A lot of you have heard me talk about it. Like, listen, I remember this and I remember that, and I walked here and I went there. Sister Rose, Maka, welcome. Bless you guys. Grand rising, and thank you for joining. Guys, we just learned that there are two different types of griots, right? And the griots are the people that pass the tradition, right? Pass the traditions. And the first one is called a Moseki. And in this particular tradition, the Moseki are the ones who are taught the tradition word for word, and they're trained from childhood to improve their memory so that they do not skip any words, leave any words out. They're taught tradition and history word for word, and they pass it down word for word. And the second is called a Mochiri, and the Mochiri keep the culture, because this is the one I am one of. I'm a Mochiri, which I just learned this word, but I've been this forever, and you guys know if you follow me. We are the ones who walk with the ancestors. The ancestors talk to us, kick it with us, and we are able to be ported to the time of the ancestors, where we can literally like time walk, right? And some of you know that I have extensive experiences like that, where I'm like, I can listen to something on the History Channel and I can know that it's accurate or inaccurate, because I can go back and be like, no, that is not what we did with that. Because I literally can just go back to that time and see what was going down. I have lots of stories like that. So that I'm a Mochiri. We travel with the ancestors. We access the vibrancy and transport our minds and spirits to their time. We are guided to travel in spirit until we reach what we call Mojako or Mohako. I don't know how to pronounce that. The gate, and receive the blessings of the gatekeeper. Then we are assigned a custodian, through whose eyes and mind we see the past. We are thus enabled to research and investigate the lives of our ancestors exactly as if they were living right now. The time we live in is that state we call Ditoro, or dream time. It is not related to outside time. In just 3 nights, we are able to live 1,000 years or more in Ditoro. Okay? So if you're taking notes, there were some key terms there, right? So, Mojako, the gate. Mojako is the gate. And this gate is an initiation place, right? And this is where they're assigned a custodian. And through this custodian is like your spirit guide, if you will, right? They allow you to see the past. They let you see the past through their eyes and mind. Right? All right. This allows us to thoroughly investigate the lives of the ancestors, right? Now, another term that we just learned, we live in a state that we call Ditoro, or dream time. So you know how so many of us say that this world, this timeline, like your spirit world, is more real than this world. Some people say this is the real world and dream world and spirit world is other. No, this is the dream, right? This is the Ditoro. Right? The Toro is this modern, wake state, if you will, which is actually a dream. Okay? All right. It's not related to outside time. In just 3 nights, we are able to live 1,000 years or more in Ditoro. Now, not to get all secular on you, right? But how many different, one particular movie comes to mind, which is The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Oh, glory. Hallelujah. Got to chill. Now, I don't know if you have closely examined that movie, but if you will closely really dig that movie, it is teaching so much esoteric truth. It's bonkers, okay? But that gate, right, that they go through when they go, they have these entry points when they go and live years and years and years and years, right, in an afternoon. And then they come back out and it's like it's only been a few minutes, or it's like, you know, they left at breakfast time. They come back and it's like not even lunchtime. It's like, where you kids been? I've been calling you for 10 minutes. 10 minutes. We thought 40 years passed. Oh, glory, 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 glory. I'm getting chills. Right? So this is something that is a practice that many cultures train you to be able to do at will. Okay? So the experience of the Toro has a vividness that far exceeds that of modern ordinary experiences. I was taught that our ancestors lived in that type of vivid consciousness as their normal everyday experience prior to 6,000 years ago. Our present minds have been severely slowed down, so to speak, due to the deterioration of our bodies, which are inferior to what our ancestors had then. What we discover in that state becomes indelibly etched in our mind. It is just as vivid today in my mind as it was when I completed my first Ditoro 21 years ago. And that is some truth upon truth, y'all, because I'm going to tell you, these times that I have been like transported back, nobody is going to tell me that did not, listen, it is real as real. It's as real as I'm sitting here on this chair, like, there's no coming back from those experiences. You know that you have been somewhere. So that's a brief overview of the experience, the rites that are actually used to open it up for us, as well as the names of the guardians, custodians, and gods we meet are sacred. What little I've told about is as much as I'm allowed to tell. I have got to find these elders. I have to find them. The secrecy in which we are initiated today is only a temporary phenomenon. It started 6,000 years ago to keep certain knowledge from the present rulers of the world. Before then, all Black people were taught as a matter of course using the same kind of rites and rituals. We have reached a point in this 6,000-year cycle when the empire of the white man is about to crumble. Guys, and remember, they do clearly trace the lineage of the white man to be only 6,000 years old, right? That's not like up for debate. Science aren't like trying to figure that out. No, that is very clear and evident. That so-called race is very new on the planet, whereas melanin races have been here for billions and billions, and even according to this text, trillions of years, right? Going through cycle after cycle after cycle after cycle. Okay? So this 6,000-year period that we're in the end of, okay, is a little baby chapter, right? And it's the chapter wherein the non-melanin races exist for the experience of the melanin races to be able to experience all. Because remember what we read yesterday. God, being all and everything, knows all and is all, but hasn't experienced all. And so God, as each individual, created a realities where everything could be experienced, which is why you have the ever expanding prism from the worst, evil, horrible experience a human can have to the best, wonderfulest experience a human can have. And they all are happening right now. Like right now, someone is having the best highlight moment of their life and someone is living through the worst thing that none of us wants to imagine, right? Why is that? Because God, big God, all, everything, fractured ourselves into little selves, to be able to experience these things. And this is going to be a little troubling for some people, but it's important to understand that not just experience them as the receiver, but also to experience them as the perpetrator. So being able to experience both causing the greatest joy and causing the greatest grief. That's why a lot of people teach that there is no devil, because there is no force outside and equal to God. Everything is God, if you will. Everything is everything. Everything is one thing. There's not like one thing and then the other thing. No, everything is one. Right? So I hope that's not getting too weird and esoteric, but this is heavy stuff. So we're going to, anyway. So the secret initiations are about to be reestablished as a common teaching method. That's the reason why I've prepared and posted these teachings. Okay. So the interviewer asked, who taught these elders? Where did they get their knowledge? Is their knowledge available in other forms outside of your posts? Should you really be sharing this knowledge? Blackroot science, is it a way of life or like a religion, or just a form of science which is based on earthly principles and heaven, parentheses, space principles? Can it tell us about afterlife or the end of the flesh man and the birth of the spirit man? Does it explain the spirit as E equals MC squared, energy that's not destroyed nor changing, is not destroyed, just changing form? Can it justify how soul, spirit, and body work in harmony as one? Who taught my elders? The elder answered, they were taught by their own elders. Every generation of my tribe have their own elders. Before they pass on or ascend, they initiate new people to become the custodians of tribal knowledge. This system of education by initiation has been going on in my tribe as well as 11 other tribes for 6,000 years. You get that? 12 tribes have maintained this tradition for this last age, this 6,000 year age of the Gentiles. We are in the particular age, right? And so this is one of 12 teachings that are still going forth here around the planet. All right? It's still happening. It's not mainstream. It's very, very secret. Right? But at this point, it's going out to more people because the need to remember who we are is going to be imperative as we build and lay the foundations for the new earth, so that as the earth goes back down to 1 billion, 8 million, which it does, often it hits the reset, and when it goes back down to the 1 billion, 8 million, we won't be out of our minds. We can be intentional about transitioning, right? So the interviewer asked, where did they get their knowledge? And the elder answered, our knowledge was established 6,000 years ago into a coherent system of initiation rites by Yaqub. You all know him as Jacob, whose real name is Yahweh. Okay? I know that's hard to get because you're probably going, well, wait, I thought Yahweh was God and Jacob was, listen, just stick with us, okay? He divided the knowledge into 3 compartments, okay? Here's a good place to take another note, okay? You could have taken note also. I mean, not to tell you where to take notes, take your own notes. But the 6,000 year marker is an important thing to keep in mind, right? That this age is 6,000 years since you have the non-melanin races, right? So the non-melanin races have only been around for about 6,000 years. There are 12 tribes with the teaching, okay? I'm going to refer to it as the teaching, okay? Or the way. Now, those 12 tribes are all around the world, okay? This is one of the 12, right? So now the next thing to take note of, and this is a controversial note, but that Yaqub, right, which we often hear him called Jacob, is actually Yahweh. And remember, we learned the other day that he is one of the original gods, right? Yaqub divided the knowledge into 3 compartments, right? And you forgive me if I'm taking long, but I am taking notes as we're doing this. So he divided the knowledge into 3 compartments, and they are the first and the highest in this age consists of 360 degrees of knowledge. Where have you heard that before? Huh? You've heard that? Anybody heard that? Right? Well, I know I have. I've heard that from the Moors, from the what do you call those guys? The Masons, the Freemasons, right? I want to point out that this knowledge is in the hands of your so-called elites. They know this, which is why they are all talking this reset stuff. It's why they are preparing for, they got cities underground and stuff, because they know that a reset's coming. They know that time is a ticking, and that any day now it's going to be a boom, game changer, when the age is going to shift, right? And so they believe that they can control who is left here and how they survive and all this and that. It doesn't work like that, right? Know that there are many cases in which the teaching, the way, has been leaked into the wrong hands. You heard that they said that they kept it secret to try to keep it out of these cats' hands, right? But you are going to hear a lot of, you're going to hear a lot of little pieces that you're going to be like, wait, I've heard that before. I've heard that before. Yeah, start to put the pieces together, right? So the highest in this age consists of 360 degrees of knowledge. It is this system in which I am initiated. The second consists of The second consists of 36 degrees of knowledge, okay? So the second compartment of knowledge equals 36 degrees. This knowledge is called the wisdom of the 36 netters. Where do you know that from? Where have you heard the netters? Do you know who that is? That's the Egyptian system. Right? Right. It's the knowledge, 36 degrees of the knowledge, which is called the wisdom of the 36. Y'all. If y'all could see my notes, you'd be like, really? All right. That's the second. Now, the third and final system consists of 33 degrees of knowledge, right? Again, back to the Moors and the Masons, right? Those guys everything isn't devil worship. Granted, I believe they're on some old defiled stuff, right? Because of what they're operating in, but they got their hands on these secrets. And trust and believe, your elites got their hands on a lot of this knowledge and are using it to your disadvantage and to their advantage. It's how they amass such power over everybody. Because listen, at the end of the day, knowledge and power, truth, it doesn't matter who does certain things. Okay, a simple thing, right? Like boiling water. It doesn't matter who boils water. The fact is, if you put heat under a pot and water's in it, the water's going to get hot. If you leave it there long enough, it will eventually evaporate. There'll be no water in the pot. Anybody can do that. Now, if I boil the water in the pot to make pasta, or if I boil the water in the pot to throw it in your face and scald you, it is my intention for what I'm going to do with the boiled water. God forbid, I would not do that. I pray I would never have to do that to anyone. But what I plan to do with the knowledge of how to boil water is my business. The fact is, once you learn how to boil water, you can do whatever you want with it. That is why this guy said that they intentionally kept this knowledge out of the hands of the world leaders for 6,000 years. They tried to hide this stuff, right? Okay, so this third system consisting of 33 degrees of knowledge, okay? The third equals 33 degrees of knowledge. All right. Yaqub, or Yahweh, established it for teaching the light-skinned races. Okay? This 33 degrees of knowledge was for these new people. Right? In ancient times, the most intelligent of them were recruited from their countries into the Ethiopian Empire, including Egypt and the Middle East. And they were taught the 33 degrees of knowledge and then sent back to their homelands. The first degree was, it's the highest of the age, and it is 360 degrees of knowledge. It's the system in which he is initiated. He doesn't give them names, right? So the first is 360 degrees of knowledge. The second is 36 degrees of knowledge, and the final is 33 degrees of knowledge, and that is the one that Yaqub established for teaching the light-skinned races, okay? So they were taught the 33 degrees of knowledge and then sent back to their homelands where they established secret societies. Okay? This stuff, I got you, brother. Welcome to the room, D. Shalom, salute, and grand rising. We're wrapping up in about 11 minutes. Hallelujah. So you might have to just watch this on a replay. And by the way, guys, we'll do that later. We're not getting into that. So they were taught the 33 degrees of knowledge and then sent back to their homelands where they established secret societies. The most predominant is still in existence today. They are the so-called, what did I say? Freemasons. Okay? The Rosicrucians and the Theosophists are the highest practitioners of the 33 degrees. Okay? So that's the Freemasons. As I said, I knew it. I was picking up what he was putting down. Okay? So if you're taking notes, the Rosicrucians is spelled R-O, and you wouldn't need me to spell it. If you went to thegreatinvestigation.com and got your own copy, you could just highlight it. But Rosicrucians, and the Theosophists, which is spelled Theosophists. These are the highest practitioners of the 33 degrees, okay? Highest 33 degree practitioners. All right? They then come from the others, such as the Templars, the White Brotherhood of Light, the Illuminati, and other light race secret societies. Okay? Let's be putting some puzzle pieces together. Let's see. It's 9:51. We'll do one more He's got one more question. We can probably get it in unless we have to stop and talk. Okay, one more question from the interviewer before we wrap it up today. The interviewer asks, is there knowledge available in other forms outside of your post? The elder answered, not in the way I presented it here. I've tried to present what I've been taught in such a way that it may appeal to the largest possible audience of Black people. Some of this knowledge can be found in the teachings of Elijah Muhammad. The problem is that many Black people are turned off by the Nation of Islam for many varied reasons, most of which have nothing to do with the teachings themselves. So in order to appeal to those Black people who have been robbed of Elijah's elevated teachings, I've tried to represent the truth in such a way that it does not particularly align with any of the offshoots and various groups formed since its death. And don't get me wrong, some of them know the truth. My presentation is much more general and comprehensive. It includes our history prior to the creation of our earth, all the way back to the creation of our universe. Later on, I'll discuss events that are soon to occur on earth as the present cycle comes to a close. Hallelujah. Then I'll go on to discuss what lies beyond this cycle. My goal is to present as comprehensive a version of the truth as is possible to be understood by those who have not yet experienced it firsthand through rites and initiations. Thus, the short answer to your question is no. There is no published information available of what I've presented here. Bless up, brother Nudwe. Please forgive that I probably butchered your name. Welcome to the room. We're actually wrapping up. So the truth is, the short answer to your question there is no. There is no published information available of what I've presented here. This is the first time this knowledge has been released publicly, which brings me to your fourth question. And we are going to leave off there, ladies and gentlemen, which is note 28, where we will be picking up note 28, which is the fourth question. Okay, so you have homework. Your homework is to go to thegreatinvestigation.com. Order yourself a copy of the Black Root Science. In fact, order your copy of all 4 books that they have available there so that you can read and follow along, read on your own time. It's fine if you go far, far ahead of us. That would be beautiful. I very much welcome your discussion. If anybody ever at any point would like to get on camera and read instead of my voice, it'd be lovely if you guys have a copy and you'd like to do some of the reading and teaching. If any of you have any insight, knowledge to share, please do so in the chat or make a little request. There's some kind of way you guys can make a little request and I'll bring you on the camera, okay? Because what this is not is me, the teacher, standing at the top handing knowledge down. This is a circle and we are passing knowledge back and forth between and amongst ourselves. So this is why I really strongly suggest that you please get these texts yourself, and they are available for free download. So if you can't afford to purchase one, which I suggest and ask you to please do if you're able, because your purchase does support them in the work that they're doing, which is a really great work. But if not, don't let finances stop you. They have made it possible for you to still get this, even if you don't have the finances. Simply download a copy, okay? And so I really, hallelujah, thank you all for tuning in. This has been a wonderful morning session. I'm not smoking or having tea or anything right now. I'm on a 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. total fast. And so that part of the morning session is void right now. We're not doing that. But if you are having a smoke or a libation or something like that, please have some on my behalf. And I'm so grateful for you guys tuning in. I praise the Most High for your presence and for bringing us to this study. So glad to be back online. I've got an eyelash in my eye, guys. It's really driving me crazy. But we'll be here tomorrow, Most High willing, same time, same place. I will air this as a premiere on YouTube at 9 p.m. every day. At 9 p.m. I air it as a premiere on YouTube. And the reason I do that is so that if people want to watch the rebroadcast, but they still want to be interactive with me and ask questions or give me insight, any of that, I do it as a premiere on YouTube, and I watch the premiere so that we can communicate via the chat. So for those of you that came in late, if you do want to, if you're going to watch it as a rebroadcast, of course, feel free to watch it on Facebook. But if you would like interaction with me for that, I do attend the premiere that happens on YouTube. I love you, Sister Rose. I'm glad you enjoy it. I'm learning. Listen, these are the ancestors are teaching all of us. This is all, well, kind of new, but not new, right? So we're going through this journey of the study of this particular text together. I haven't pre-read any of this text. I've read, I'm somewhat familiar with the text that these are leading up to, which is the Holy Megalith, which is what I'm super most excited about, because those are the scriptures that were penned by the people who spent all their time with Yeshua. And they are so rich and so beautiful and so wonderful. And it's the most amazing, beautifulest thing ever. But the elders suggest first reading these things so that you are getting a real full context. And then you pick up the story with Yeshua, knowing the rest of the story. So that's what we're doing here. But I love you, Miss Rose, and I love all you guys that have tuned in. I am Jedi, Empress Jedi, the Rabble Rouser. You've been watching the morning session. This is a Black Enlightenment production where we are indeed, boys and girls, broadcasting consciousness. I am so glad you are picking up what I am putting down. You never let it fall to the ground. You are the awesomest. May the Most High be glorified in all that you think, do, and say today. Don't go anywhere that your ancestors and angels don't want you to go. Listen to them little voices. Okay? Be blessed, be happy, all that good stuff. I am now gonna give you guys a minute if y'all want to give each other a shout out or any of that. I am gonna try to play a little minute or two of our outro song, which I don't know why I closed it, y'all. I didn't mean to do that. So now I have to reopen it. And nope, not you. You're the intro song. Sorry, guys. See, this is what had happened. This is why I need technical support, because y'all can clearly see that I am not super good at this. Guys, which did we choose for the outro song now? I don't even remember. Was it Let It Go, right? It was Let It Go that was the outro. We do Y'all Promise in the intro, and here's the outro for you. Thank you all so much for tuning in. And I'm just going to let y'all rock out to this, and shalom, shalom, y'all. I know people done you wrong. Yeah, it's okay. So you wanna cling to that moment until your very last day. All right, and now I am going to put the website here where you can get this text. Forgiveness doesn't mean come on, stop fixing it for me. I want it like I wanted it. Forgiveness is about purging out your heart and creeping dead ends. And it doesn't matter. Why is that not coming up like a... Can somebody test that link that I just put up? See, are you able? Does that open up the site? Anybody? But if you walk away and leave them to their ways, their karma's on them. Does that open up to the site? Can anybody click it and see? Does it open up to the Great Investigation? That is where you can get a copy of the text. Like I said, if you're able to purchase it, please do support their work. But if not, download a copy, okay? And we are at 10:01. We're late getting out the door. Yes, excellent. All right. Shalom, y'all. See you tomorrow, y'all willing.